Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Real Franchise, a podcast that goes where others simply won't, an unfiltered view of franchising, business, mindset, and everything that we stand for when it comes to supporting a community of small business owners. Join me, Rhiannon, the CEO for James Home Services Australia, and Justin, one of our owners, as we unpack it all with no topics off limits. Justin, today we're talking about the future of franchising. And I'm going to throw immediately over to you for a little bit of context as to why we're talking about this today.
About a week ago, I attended an industry leadership event, franchising industry, and it was great. Many leaders, commentators across the industry were there sharing. They had like a panel up front, but then also a lot of the delegates had just returned from the worldwide franchising conference was held in Las Vegas. So they're sort of giving updates on franchising worldwide. And I found some of the comments really interesting, and I'd love to dive into some of them today. So that's the context, is this forum, and they're talking about what the industry sees as the future, and they were giving their feedback. And I know this is a topic that's for a long time been close to your heart. So from your perspective, I'd love to throw back to you. With because you're keeping your finger on the pulse here, what changes do you see inevitable, do you see coming to the industry, and maybe why some of those things have to happen, need to happen?
Yeah. The franchising is headed for massive change in the next 5 to 10 years. Anybody who thinks that they can continue the model they're delivering today and just maintain and still be successful in 5 to 10 years' time is a dreamer. Some of the big changes that we're seeing already impacting the industry, a lot of those are around risk and cost, particularly upfront. The introduction, worldwide of subscription models and pay-as-you-go models, and just that whole concept of reducing the need to put money on the table up front to get something, that is changing our space. That is changing consumers' expectations. It used to be, it still is entirely common that franchise networks, you pay for your business up front. And in our network, that, in our industry, that's anywhere from $25,000 to $60,000 on the table up front. We are seeing that being highly, highly challenged. We've already moved, of course. We introduced our subscription model almost 4 years ago, very much ahead of the game. But we are now seeing others respond to this pressure through other interpretations of taking away that risk. People want more flexibility. They're not wanting to sign up to a 10-year agreement anymore. There's really good reason for that. And certainly what's influencing that is things like the gig economy, and also just our younger generation being more empowered with more options and more choice about what they want to do with their lives. That's influencing that heavily. I think that the other thing that is really, really going to change is how AI will impact the franchising space significantly, but maybe not in the way most people think, right? Everybody thinks AI, it's going to take jobs. AI is going to challenge our industry because people use franchise networks as a way to start a business when they haven't done it before and they're looking for help and guidance. Well, ChatGPT can now give you that help and guidance, right? You can go to Chat or any other LLM, large language model of your choice, and you can type in fact, I did it this morning. I was trying to come up with a content idea for TikTok, actually, and I thought in the shower last night, I thought of this idea. What if I went to ChatGPT and typed in, tell me the steps to start a business? Now, I've got almost 15 years experience now of starting businesses. I know how this works, right? And I thought, I'm going to catch this thing out, right? No way ChatGPT can tell me how to start a business in a way that's actually going to be good quality information. And I thought, I've got the perfect content idea. I asked ChatGPT to tell me how to start a business and it got it wrong. Let me tell you how to actually do it, right? I typed it into Chat this morning. It didn't get it wrong. It gave really good advice, right? It didn't give you the whole story, but it gave really good initial advice. And so the challenge in franchising is that we are seen as the pathway into business ownership for those that need advice.
Yes.
And ChatGPT is going to challenge our position. So look, off the top of my head, those are 3 big shifts that we're going to see that we are already seeing and the sort of influences.
Yep. Well, then I guess it would be great to dive into those 3 and go, well, okay, if that's where we're going, what are we doing about those things at James?
Yeah.
Would that be a good place to go?
Yeah, it is a good place to go, because for the last 5 years, I've been watching all of these outside influences on our industry. And every year I'm watching how they're changing and how the pace at which their influence is accelerating. 4 years ago, we introduced subscription model because we recognized back then that people were not wanting to put money on the table, Yes. 3 years ago, we moved from, just offering we're at the other end of the phone support to full on business coaching support and, highly, highly tailored profit coaching solutions for all our business owners. And we did that because, AI is changing how you can get advice on how to start a business and how to be profitable. And also because what consumers want out of a franchise is bespoke and tailored guidance to them specifically. So we're already doing that, We're offering way more flexible options for the term of our franchise agreement than most in our industry. We're tailoring and we're actually building skills. The other thing that I really think, there's one way to sum up where our industry is going, and it is business startup as a service, right? And so we think about what we offer, not just as here's a brand, here's a reputation, here's a system, go and do, right? That's traditional franchising. Forget it. Out the window. It's so yesterday. There are franchisors out there doing, here's our brand, here's our reputation, here's our system. Give us a call if you need. No, they're about to fall off a cliff, and frankly, they don't even realize it. What we do already is we've created a business growth ecosystem where business startup is the service we provide. Business guidance, bespoke tailored solutions, identifying weaknesses, identifying business roadblocks, and going in specifically to help individual business owners with exactly what they need to break through their own business roadblocks and get to the goals that they're setting for themselves.
Yep.
That is the ecosystem that frankly, we've already got here in our network.
Yeah. And I just want to contrast that for people listening, right? In this meeting that I was in, one of the commentators, who's an absolute, I think, genius leader in our industry, and I totally agree with what he said, he was saying to the audience that in the future, you as franchisors are going to have to be seen as profit coaches for your franchisees. Yeah. And he went on to say, at the moment, many of you catch up with your franchisees once or twice a year. You sit down and go through, you might sit down and go through your figures. And he said, however, he'd been in the industry for decades. He said, I know for most franchisors, it's just a tick and flick thing getting the franchisees' figures. And I shared with you in a debrief after, I was amazed because this is normal business at James. We employ people who have all been business owners in our company, have walked the walk, can talk the talk. And you particularly have been upskilling them to work with our franchisees to help them generate profit. And we were just refining that process yesterday in updating and for me as an owner in the company, it's been fantastic to see the swing in success of our business owners. Like, it is extremely rare for someone in our network not to make it.
Mm.
Yet I encourage anyone looking at a franchise, check out industry statistics if you can get them on success rates and things like that. We're happy to share with people that are looking because our coaches are profit coaches that really help people and ChatGPT can't help there, right? It's an awesome tool. And, I know these other franchises are threatened by it. That was one of the topics.
Huh.
It's also, sorry, I'm jumping ahead, but, there's a lot of legislation coming in in franchising that the government's focused on at the moment. And you and I talk about this. For us, it's not threatening, because if you're doing the right thing, if you're looking after people, does it matter?
Yeah.
If you drive everywhere at 100 kilometres an hour, does the speed limit really worry you? It's only those that want to drive at 140, 150 that get really upset.
Yeah.
That's my little rant, but it was just, it's normal business for us.
Yeah, and it was such a realization for me. We had like an hour and a half debrief after you attended this session, right? And I just spent an hour and a half being practically dumbfounded by the feedback that you were giving, because they're talking about the future of franchising and none of it's wrong. They identified AI as an influence. They talked about the need to be profit coaches. They talked about the need for more flexibility and more tailored solutions, right? They're not wrong, but they're talking about that in the future.
Yes.
This is what we're doing now. And what you and I, we've spent the last 16 years working our tushies off to get this business and this network to where it is, and we were coming from behind. It's no secret. We've talked about it before many a time on this podcast that when you and your business partner bought in 6 years ago, we had a clear turnaround situation on our hands, and that's what we focused on. And in leading that turnaround, I thought what we were doing was just getting up to speed with the rest of the industry, right? I thought that having business coaches do what our business coaches do, I thought that was normal. I thought having a software system that had complete and full visibility over our business owners and their profitability and their, all of the data that we need to be able to identify the specific roadblocks in their business, I thought that was normal. I thought helping our business owners with growth strategies, personal and professional, was normal. I thought helping franchisees to employ staff, to plan for employing staff, to budget for employing staff, I thought that was normal. Turns out that's the future and we're living in it. We're doing it.
Yeah.
That's already what it is that we do.
Yes. Yeah. So that was the first thing. What was the second thing we wanted to dive into?
We wanted to, I think it sort of segues really neatly to actually challenge some of the people think of franchising in a certain way.
Yes.
They think of franchising in the traditional sense. Brand, reputation, system, go and do it. Rules, regulation, pay your franchise fees, franchisor works with you a couple of times a year, and it's pretty much a compliance issue rather than coaching. And what we've been developing in our network uses those foundations but is building on it.
Mm.
And over the last few years, I have realised that there are a few ways to describe what we do that doesn't use the word franchise. So, for example, something that I talk about often is that we're a business accelerator. You come into our network and you're in a program, a fast-paced, structured, detailed program that has taken tens and tens and tens of businesses now from zero experience to high-performing business owners can be as little as 12 weeks.
Yep.
And so while other franchise networks are just out there handing out brands and reputations and systems, we are giving you a literal blueprint to go from zero to whatever number you want.
Yep.
And you can pick your number. Yep. And whether you get there or not is only resultant of the effort that you put into implementing the blueprint that we give you, right? So I love to look at us as a business accelerator. There's another way that we look at us that you explain way better than I ever do, and I'm about to put you on the spot. You know, we use the analogy often of, athletes at the peak of their profession, or, sporting teams who are world champions, or even leaders who are admired globally for leading their companies or being thought leaders on leadership, or these people have a team of experts. I'm going to handball to you because you explain this way better than I. Why does this matter to us?
Yeah. So to just summarize what you're saying, one of the things I've observed is every high performer in sport, like you were saying, one of the characteristics I see of high performers, they have coaches. You know, you might call them a mentor or whatever your language is, but they're coaches, people that work with them, that help them drive them forward. So if you're listening to this and you go, I know business, I've been self-employed for a decade or so, great, you need a business coach, and that's where our support is focused. You might never have been self-employed as well. Well, you definitely need a business coach, right? ChatGPT can't help you with the nuances of the everyday to days in a business. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't need help, I can do this myself. Well, the Australian Open was just on. Why do the number one players in the world, every single of those players, every single one of them had a support team, had coach, yet they're the best in the world, right? And I think it's just pride that makes us think we know it all or think we can access it all. And any shrewd person in business, in life, will have mentors. And I guess, I'm not sure if I'm answering what you wanted me to answer, but that's, I see where our real sweet spot has become as a network is the way we've restructured things, even the way we employ our coaches. When we identified we needed to provide coaching, and gradually we've swung to going, you know what, wherever possible, we want to make sure these coaches are people who've actually been business owners, right? All 5 of our coaches at the moment have all had businesses with us. And one of them still has a business with us, Pia. But it just adds that credibility and knowledge. And it's all about the focus of our business is then all about helping that person succeed.
Yeah.
And the spotlight that's on franchising, if you're sitting there wondering, why does franchising have a sour taste for some people, in circles? I think largely because the focus has been more on the franchisor historically. Yeah. Our network, our fee structure, everything only works if we see our business owners successful.
Yeah.
And so everything that you and I have worked on over the last 6 years has been focused on helping our business owners be more successful. I mean, I was looking at our average hourly rate across the network this morning on that computer system. Honestly, most franchises couldn't tell you what the average hourly rate is for their people in their networks. We can tell you to the cent. Yeah. Over the last 12 weeks on average, what our average hourly rate is. I was looking at that thinking, wow, when we bought this business a few years ago, it was half that.
Yeah.
So on average, people in our network now are earning double doing the same tasks, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's because of that focus. That's because of that coaching. That's because, the tennis players, they get their percentage rate of serves in up because they've got a coach working with them on technique. They already know how to serve great, but it's getting that. I had a business coach once that told me that big business is all about fractions and fractions of fractions. It's all about getting the little things in line and getting it right. And when you look at back to topic, franchising in the future, where we really help our people is the fractions of the fractions, really getting the business, the focus on you, getting that right.
Yeah, because...
And I think we're doing a fantastic job of that.
I do too, just quietly. it's about being, we offer a curated team of experts to help someone be the best they can be at being a business owner, because it's a hard slog, right? Being a business owner is challenging. It's complex. It's hard. You're going to have up days. You're going to have down days. You're going to have days where you want to give up. You're going to have days where you're on an absolute high. And, everybody who is performing at their peak, whether it's sport, whether it's leadership, whether it's anything else in life, they are performing at their peak because they have a curated team of experts behind them working on the 1%ers. And so that's what we do. We put together a team of curated experts. The other thing I want to touch on really quickly, as just kind of a different way to think about franchising is, you could go and you could do a diploma of business at TAFE, or you can go and do a business degree at uni. I did a business degree at uni. Did it teach me how to run a business? Absolutely not. It taught me theory, right? It gave me theory. I honestly remember completing my business degree and then the next day being like, I have no idea how to run a business. No idea. I did a major in marketing and also in law, and I got out and I thought, I don't know how to be a lawyer and I don't know how to be a marketing officer either. What was this all for? And so it builds a foundation of knowledge, but it's not teaching you how to do the thing. And I often like to explain our network to people as, we give you the knowledge foundation while you're building a real business, while you're earning an income, while you're creating freedom and flexibility for yourself. We are also teaching you everything you need to know, but none of the stuff you don't need to know. And so I love to say and explain to people that franchising is, starting a business with a franchise is like a diploma of business and a degree all wrapped into one, with the added massive bonus of getting to build your own business in real time with real practical help at every step of the way.
Yep. So true. It's ironic you just said that. I had a meeting, actually one of the best meetings I've had with someone in a year last night, with a great fellow who was looking at, actually, he was set on joining another network, and he was outlining to me last night why he was going to join this other network. And we just talked that through. He's now joining us, keen as to join us, but he was signing up to do a landscaping course. He's going to start a lawn and garden business. He wanted to go and get really skilled up. And I said, look, that's a great thing. And I'm sure you'll learn. But why spend that now? Why not get in? Because all the training's provided and stuff. And then if you feel you need to upskill further, if you feel that will assist you, go do it. But don't go spend the money now. And this is the support. I said, this is just my advice. That your decision, and he had all these big tools and equipment that this is what I'm going to go buy now. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy that. And it's that's all great. There's so many toys. But when you start a business, and this is, basic sort of coaching that we provide, right? When you're starting a business, the beginning of your business, this cash flow is king.
Yeah.
Keep whatever cash you can until the cash is flowing. Yeah. And so he was like, oh, that makes sense. So I said, yeah, because if you don't get jobs for those particular tools, you've spent thousands and they're taking up space. If you need them, you can go buy them. It's no drama. So it's a good franchise. It's just going to help steer you, guide you. I love the term that you just used, the ones. Yes, there's some major things that we help people with, but often it's the 1%ers that make the big difference. We have a saying in James, it's the little things in business that make the big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we wrap this episode of the podcast, I just want to talk about the future of franchising in terms of making sure that the incentive is in the right place, right? Now, what I mean by that, and I'm going to throw back over to you for this, but what I mean is that we've commented a couple of times already that franchising traditionally has a little bit of a sour taste because it's been all about the franchisor making the money. And what we're talking about today is that we are seeing an enormous shift. We have already shifted, but now we're seeing the industry saying we as an industry need to shift to a model where actually the franchisee is at the centre of everything we do, quite genuinely, and their profitability is now important to us in order to drive our profitability. Now, we already operate this way. But can you explain what I mean by this? Because we're really just talking about the difference between upfront fee versus pay-as-you-go models, and also when it comes to franchise fees, flat fee versus percentage fee. So what do we do, and why is that important moving forward?
Yeah. One of the comments from this, one of the presenters was saying to this group of franchisor leaders, if your franchise relies on the profit from the upfront sale of the business to survive, your days are over already. That was his comment. And the sour taste, now I'm going to grossly overgeneralize, right? Just but so people understand. Franchisors in the past have developed a great system. They have a great brand. If you want to join us, you have to pay. It's a privilege to be with us. Right? We are in the position of power. Oh, you little peasant, come join us. Sort of, right? That's sort of grossly exaggerating the mentality. And sadly, it's still the mentality, I believe, in a lot of organisations. And what the government legislation, what industry leaders are trying to get this change is because franchising is an incredible tool. It's probably one of the most powerful small business startup tools on the planet. There's a reason why franchises are so successful. There's a reason why the success rate in our franchise is incredibly high, right? There's a reason to join a franchise, but you've got to join the right one. And so that, by and large, has been how franchisors have operated historically. The change in the future, and as you just said, that what we already do is the focus in a good franchise is all about the individual. You know, it's all about ensuring they're successful. And if the franchisees, if the business owners are successful, well, then the franchise is going to be successful.
Yeah.
It's almost like that old saying, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Right? And so I want to encourage anyone who's listening to this that's looking at which franchise. If the business you're looking at wants all the money up front, why?
Yeah.
Right? Because if they're going to deliver value to you, well, value should be shared, and they can make value down the track out of that relationship. If they have to get all the money up front or most of the money, that should ring alarm bells for anybody. If the fee structure, to me, in anything, right, when you bought a piece of software, you might remember this, but I can remember we'd go and buy Microsoft and you had to pay like $500, or, you could get the student version and get it cheap, right? MyHub, when we first got MyHub, it was $550. Like, that's unheard of now, going and buying software for a big upfront cost. No, just sign up with us. It's $100 a month, right? That's how all of our software operates. And there's a reason for that. And there's a reason that us as consumers have swung to supporting that sort of operation. We're already there, right? Our fee structure is a percentage. So if you're not doing well, we don't do well.
Yeah.
So everything is focused on seeing the individual be successful. And I want to encourage people listening, make sure whatever business you're getting involved with, that their success is tied to your success.
100%. Yeah. You want to make sure your franchisor has skin in the game.
Yes.
And, our subscription model flipped the tables completely on the industry, because nobody had ever done it before. And we said, basically the subscription model was us saying, we believe that we can get you started in business. We don't need your $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 up front.
Yes.
We know we can get you to success. And if we get you to success, then our structure allows you to pay that to us over time. Yes. We don't need it up front. We are going to invest in you, and we are going to put our money where our mouth is. We're going to invest in you. We're going to teach you the skills. We're going to help you build that business. And then when you've got that business, you can pay it to us as you can afford to do so. It totally flipped the tables on the industry. And I think we were simply ahead of our time. I think that we're going to see, still to this day, there's nobody else offering a subscription model. I have seen in recent months variations of pay-as-you-go models packaged differently, which is really interesting. I think that the pressure is beginning to build, and I think that's a good thing. I think pressure keeps businesses honest, and it keeps franchisors making sure that their focus is on the franchisee. And I love our model because no matter whether you look at it from the buy-in, the subscription side, or from our franchise fee side, our model is designed so that we are incentivized based on our business owners' performance.
Yep.
We only get paid when our business owners are performing. And I think that is where the future of franchising is headed. And indeed, we are already there.
That's probably a good place to wrap up.
I agree. Let's do just that. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found some value, and I hope that you might join us for another episode of The Real Franchise very soon.